everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Prepping by Faith. And today I wanted to share an article with you that I came across that I think is really important. So it is called A Deep Dive into Shipping and Famine. This is through gCaptain.com. Per usual, I'm going to link it for you guys in the description box. I think this is a really important read. So I'm going to hit the highlights, but I would appreciate it if you guys would go ahead and take a look at this article a lot deeper. I think this really lays it out for us. The whole big picture puts all the pieces together of what we are witnessing, what we are seeing, what is coming. So they start off recognizing the blockade that Russia has created of food exports from Ukraine, how that drove the grain markets much higher and caused all these leaders to sort of take action. And the UN had announced it brokered a deal to ensure the safe passage of these bulkers out of Ukraine. There was a sigh of relief, but that plan has failed to meet these tonnage expectations. And now Russia has deployed a new strategy to sort of disrupt the world food supply. The self sanctions of fertilizer shipments and the slowdown of inspections under the UN's grain deal in the Black Sea. So they're not exporting the fertilizer. And we already know about the fact that I had reported on a while ago that Europe's supply of fertilizer has also been greatly diminished because they had actually shut down a lot of those plants this past year because of the issues that they had with the natural gas that they needed. So they are talking about the New York Times reporting how a worsening hunger situation is going on. So we are talking about the hostilities in Ukraine have had a devastating effect on the country's exports. They're saying that from March to November, the average monthly exports of grain and oilseeds plummeted from 5 to 7 million metric tons to a mere 3.5 million metric tons, which is a lot. That is far short of the July 22 grain deal target of 5 million metric tons per month. And they're talking about the damages because of this war. So the UN World Food Program had said that some 47 million people were suffering, but that it's going to go further than that. They have 345 million were suffering from a risk of acute food insecurity, more than double from 2019. And they're talking a lot in here, guys, about this ESG. So this, I think, is really important to mention. The United Nations International Maritime Organization has issued these new environmental, social, and corporate governances, this ESG, which we hear a lot about, right? Aimed at decarbonizing the industry. They have found that more than 75%, guys, of the ships are not meeting these new requirements. And their goal, the limiting options to comply in the short term, has so many ship owners being forced to slow their ships down to reduce these emissions. So the IMO decarbonization targets will cause ships to slow down, delaying food shipments. And they're saying that people are going to starve because of this. This is really a big deal. And it says the energy efficiency existing index is a voluntary incentive-based system that encourages ships to improve their energy efficiency. But so what it does is it uses the vessel speed, their cargo carrying capacity, and other factors to calculate this numerical score. Sounds familiar, right? The higher the score, the more efficient energy efficient the vessel is. And it is also a measure of the ship's CO2 emissions per their transportation work. So ship owners can meet the target by building a new eco-friendly ship. That sounds easy, right? Let's just build a new eco-friendly ship, investing in new decarbonization technology. Wow. So let's just upgrade all of these existing ships with all of these components that I'm sure are just going to be free to do, right? And they're talking about that can burn these cleaner fuels like LNG or by slow steaming. So they go into more details about that, which I'm not going to touch on all of that. They talk about the global weather uncertainty in here, how the droughts have ravished many of the food producing regions. And in recent months, we already know about the lower levels of water in the Mississippi River, and other important crop regions like California have seen these storms and flooding. Global food shortages and increased prices have caused severe suffering in Africa and Asia and the Americans. And they talk about Egypt and Yemen and all these other ones. This is the other other thing that was said. It says you're looking at price increases of everything from 60% in the US to 1900% in Sudan. And this is from this Sarah Manker, the chief executive of Grow Intelligence. This is what was reported to the New York Times. Now, do you know of anybody in the US that can afford 60% more? Or how about these other poorer nations at 1900%? We are going to see the price of our food continue to rise, guys. These are all of the issues. And they didn't even touch on the fact of, all of this excess money printing and the inflation. This is just the issues that we have going on between the Russian Ukrainian crisis and then all of the demands with these other organizations that are putting these carbon restrictions on these ships. So that's, and then of course the droughts and everything else that we've experienced. They didn't even touch on that aspect of it. So, with that added in there, could it be even higher than the 60%? And so to me, all this does is solidify the information that we already know. It tells us that there is a lot more going on, that this issue is a lot more global than, a lot of people want to admit. We might say that some of these countries are just sort of going at each other and working out for their own interests, but you're not going to tell me that they don't understand that the implications of that are actually going to affect their own people as well, that this is going to impact them, that they are not, their own people are going to be starving in the process because of sort of digging their heels in and not coming to a better agreement to take care of these situations that we are seeing. So we need to be concerned about our food supply. This is a big deal. So what do we need to do, guys? We have got to continue to put aside what we can for our families. Food is an issue. Whatever you can learn to do yourself, whatever you can learn to grow. I know container gardening and small gardens in our backyard are not going to supplement everything that we need, but that is why we are also prepping at the same time. We're putting aside foods that we know are going to be worth their weight in gold. And then, guys, also thinking about protecting those resources, right? You can stockpile all of your food and have all of your food, but if you don't have a way of defending it, if this gets really bad, if we start seeing these things, people are not going to be able to afford food any longer. They are going to be emptying out the stores. You're going to see gangs come in. You're going to see people potentially spill over into neighborhoods and start ransacking homes that they think have supplies that they need. So if you are not prepared to defend what you have, you are going to be in a very bad spot. So I want you guys to be aware of that. And I also want you to always remember that, the Lord is on our side. We have him in our corner. We need to be praying. We need to be intervening for this nation. We need to be praying that, these countries start to work together, that they see that they are causing issues, not only for, their potential enemies, but they're also causing issues for their own people, their own nation, their own countries, and that nobody is going to profit in this situation. So we need to be petitioning heaven for intervention, doing all that we can in the natural, but then also praying, because I do believe at the core of everything that we're witnessing, all of these situations that we see unfolding before us, it's all comes back to more of a spiritual battle that we are dealing with. We are dealing with good versus evil at an all-time high. You can just see it ratcheting up in every facet, every area. So if you guys have enjoyed this video today, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. Remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.